Hi, in this tutorial I will give an overview of Azure DevOps and how you can use it in combination with Git and Visual Studio. So here you see the contents of this tutorial. First, a short introduction, what is actually Azure DevOps and what is Git. Then getting started with the Azure DevOps, create a project and add some members. Then start using the Git with Azure DevOps and Visual Studio. Then we will connect to this remote repository, the Git repository. We will configure a file called git ignore in order to set up the source code control. We will make a local clone, and then we are ready to start creating our application in Visual Studio. So we will just create a simple desktop application, and then we will fetch, pull, commit and push the code within the Git source code repository. So let's get started. First, what is Azure DevOps? Azure DevOps is a tool for software engineering. You can use it for planning, collaboration, source code control, bug tracking, and also Agile and Scrum use. It is developed by Microsoft. You can use it for free for up to 5 developers and also an unlimited number of stakeholders. You can use it in your web browser, but you can also integrate it with Visual Studio for source code control. In order to start using it, just go into this web page, create an account, and then you are up and running. So Azure DevOps are using Git as a source code repository. So Git is a distributed revision or source code control system. Git was originally created by and used within the Linux development by Linus Torvalds, the founder of Linux. Today Git has now become the most used revision or source code control system that are in use today. Git is free and open source software, and Visual Studio has support for using Git, and also Azure DevOps use Git as their source code control system or repository. Another system or provider that are using Git is GitHub, and both Azure DevOps and GitHub are products by Microsoft, while as mentioned this Git is the repository and it's free and open, and you can use it. And you can also install and use it on your own computer if you prefer. Other similar systems that use Git as a repository is SourceForge, Bitbucket, GitLab, etc. In addition to those I mentioned, GitHub, and which we will focus on today in this tutorial, Azure DevOps. So then let's start with Azure DevOps. So we just open our web browser and create an account, and then Azure DevOps projects that you can use for our development in Visual Studio. And we will also see how we can put our code into this Git repository. So then let's start it. I can just search for Azure DevOps here in my Google search in my web browser. Then just click on this link. Then you get some information regarding this Azure DevOps from Microsoft, which is the vendor of Azure DevOps. Then you can just start for free. And then first time, if you haven't created a user, you need to do that, or an account. I have already an account and a Microsoft account. Then this is the opening page for Azure DevOps. So here on the left you have different organizations. So the first thing you need to create is an organization. Just select new organization, and then when you have created an organization, you can create one or more projects within that organization. So then just create new organization, get started with Azure DevOps, continue, and then you need to specify a name for your organization. So make sure to select a good name here, and then you just need to make sure that you are not a robot or something here, and then click continue, and this organization will be created for you. So I have already created some organizations, so I just use one of my existing organizations. I have created an organization called USN24, and here I have created 2 different projects. So let's create a new project, and then you need to specify a name, select private, select advanced, and then make sure you select Git and work item process. I recommend that you use Scrum like this. So then I just specify a proper name for my project. Just call it my software or something. You can also fill in a description, but make sure to select private, select advanced, Git, and then Scrum here in the work item process, and just click create in order to create this project. It could take a couple of minutes to create this project before it's finished. And then this startup window pops up. So this is the startup page for my project. And here on the sidebar you have different features of your project. You have boards, repositories, etc. So the first thing you typically need to do is to invite some members. So you can just click on this one here, invite, and then just start typing the name or the email of the members you want to include in your project. And then make sure that you select the project that you want to be part of, like this, and just click add. Typically when you invite people here using this invite button, the members only becomes so-called stakeholders, where they only have read access to your project, and they have also not access to all parts of the project, which you see here on the left side. So typically, in addition, we just need to click on this logo here in the upper left corner, select organization settings, and then click users, and then here you can add the users. So the users you add here will become full member of your project. So then just make sure to enter the name of the user here by just starting to enter some letters in the name, and then a list of available users will pop up. So just select a proper name that you should add to your project. Make sure to select the basic, which is the access level that you need to have in order to be able to get full access to your project. Then next, select the project that this member should be part of. In this case is my software, and then also make sure to select this one, send email and invites. So then if you choose this one, this member you add here will get an email that a new project has been created, and you have access to this project, and then just click add, and then these members will be listed here in this list. So now our project is set up and we have invited the necessary members. Now we are ready to start using Git with Azure DevOps and Visual Studio. So then we are back in the web interface of Azure DevOps. So here is my project which we have created, my software. Then I can click on repos here in the left sidebar, and then here we find the necessary information regarding the Git repository that has been created as part of our project. So the first thing we typically need to do is to configure this git ignore file. This file, make sure that you are not put files in the repository that doesn't need to be there. So then just here in the add git ignore none is the default, then you just select, since we are going to use Visual Studio in this tutorial, I just select Visual Studio from the list, Visual Studio, and then just click this initialize button. And then this git ignore files has been created, and then basically it just lists different files that shouldn't be part of the repository. So typically these are files that you need to have on your local computer in order to run your applications, but not all these files need to be put into the repository. typically like Excel files, etc. So now the Git repository is ready to be used. So the first thing you need to do is to set up a local clone on your computer. So then here on the repos, you just select clone here in the right corner. Select this one. And also here you find the URL for your Git repository. You may want to just copy it. And then also here, which integrated development environment are we going to use. So I select also here Visual Studio from the list, and then automatically Azure DevOps open your Visual Studio software like this. And then by default it finds this URL for you, so it's set up for you, and then you just need to specify a local path here. So then I just go to this button. If this isn't popping up, you can also just select it from this Git changes window in Visual Studio, which you find here under View, Git changes. So this is this one. So here you can just select this button, clone repository, and then you see here this repository location is empty. So then you just need to paste in this URL, which you find here on Azure DevOps, the web interface. And then you need to select a local path. But again, if you just select Visual Studio here from the list, let's do it once more. Click clone, select Visual Studio, then click open. Sometimes this, you see here, this URL will be created automatically for you. And then you just need to select the local path. Then click on these three dots, go to your local folder, hard drive, and select a proper library where you should put your development code. So I just have created a temporary folder here called Azure DevOps, which I select, and then I just need to click this clone button, and the local clone of the Git repository will now be created on your local development computer. So now Visual Studio has set up the local Git clone for us, so we can just check it out here. I go to my file browser, go to this folder, and then you see this git ignore file has been created here, and also a readme file. So now we are ready to start creating our applications that we should put into this folder to make sure those applications and files you put here are under Git in our Git repository. Here you can also create, in addition to applications, you can create folders with documents, etc. So here in Visual Studio we have different tools for communicating with our Git repositories. We have this Git changes window, which you find here under View, Git changes, which is this window, and you also have this Git repository window, which is this window. So those two windows are the main interface that we need to use in order to communicate and use Git in Visual Studio. In addition, we have this Git menu here, which we have different features that we need in order to communicate and use Git in Visual Studio. But let's start creating some basic folders and some files. So then I can typically use my Windows File Explorer. So here in this folder, which is now our clone of this Git repository, I can create some folders. I can create a folder for, let's say, for the database. I can create a folder for applications. I can create a folder if I need to have some documents here. Documents like this. And now we can go to Visual Studio, and they should pop up here in the Git changes, but so far they haven't popped up here, so they should be popping up here. But when it comes to Git folders, you typically need to create at least one file in each of these folders. So typically here I can create a README file like I have here. Let's create just a new text document, README or something. And then if I go back here now, you see it pops up here. So now it has detected a file called readme.txt in this application folder. So let's just do the same for other folders. The database folder, here I can typically need to create some SQL files later, but just start by creating not a folder, just a text file to start with, just a readme file or something. Then if I go to Visual Studio, you see also this folder, and the file also pops up here. So let's do the same for the documents folder. Here typically you will create Word documents, Excel documents, PowerPoints, whatever. But let's just start by creating this README file like this, and then go back to Visual Studio, and you see this is also popping up here. So now we have created 3 different folders: applications, database, and documents. And then later we can put our applications here in the applications folder. We can put SQL files, table scripts, views, store procedures, etc. here in the database folder. And if you have different documents, you can put them here in documents folder. So now the next thing we need to do is to commit these files by clicking this commit button. But in order to do that, you need to enter a message, or a comment. So then I just type here, some folders has been created or something. So just a comment regarding this commit. And then just click commit, and then we need to go to this tool, which is this Git repository window we have here, and then you see here under outgoing we have some action here, and he said some folders has been it's a spelling mistake here, some folders has been created. So now these folders has just been created locally here in my local clone of the Git repository, but they haven't been pushed to the remote Git location. So in order to do that, I just need to click this push button in order to push these folders and files to the remote repository. So now these files and folders has now been pushed to the remote repository, and then we can see that in action. If we go back to the Azure DevOps web interface and click here on the files, then you see these folders, applications, and files has been created here. So this means that the folders and files we have created here in our local repository now have been pushed to the repository, to the remote repository that are stored in Azure DevOps like this. So that's a good start to create some folder structure where we can use later when we are going to create applications, different database files, or different types of documents like this. So now let's say we want to create an Excel document or a Word document in this document folder. Then we just go to our local repository folder here in documents. I just right click, create a new Excel document or something here, Microsoft Excel worksheet, and I can rename it. I can call it test results or something. So now this file has been created here locally. I can open it and edit this document. But you can also see here in Visual Studio, this one has pops up. So there's a new change here. New document has been created here, and then I can just enter a comment. Test results has been added. Then I need to click commit. But still, this document hasn't been pushed to the server. So if I go to this Azure DevOps and the documents folder, only the README text file document has been added here, not this new Excel document. So then I need to go here to outgoing and click push. And then I can go back here. And then I see under documents, you see this text test results.xls has been uploaded or pushed to the remote repository like this. And of course I can make changes in this document and then upload or push these changes to the remote repository as well. So far we have created an account in Azure DevOps, we have created an organization and a project, and we have connected our Azure DevOps project with Git, and then we have started to use Git in Visual Studio. We have created some folders, etc. And now we are ready to start creating our first application that is under Git version control. So let's go back to Visual Studio and create a basic application. So now we are back in Visual Studio. Let's start by creating a new project. Then I just go to File, New Project, and this Create a New Project pops up. And in this case, I'm going to just create a basic Windows Forms application. So I select this one, click Next. Here you specify, of course, the name of your application, and here's the location. So then, of course, you need to select the proper location here, where you get local clone of your Git repository has been created. So then I want to create the applications in the applications folder which we have created. So then I just select these three dots, select my repository folder which I have here. You can of course create this folder wherever you like on your hard drive, but I have this one, applications, select folder, like this, and then I just click next and create my desktop application project. So now Azure Studio has created a blank project for me, which you find here, of course, in the Solution Explorer, form, etc. And here you can create classes on the other code files. So let's just have this form1.cs, which is here. And then you have these Git changes that we have here. Typically also we want to show this toolbox, because we want to create a graphical user interface here with buttons, text boxes, etc. And we also want to have this property window here. So then you view property window, which you have here, properties window. So then we have set up our Visual Studio with the different windows. We have the toolbox, the designer, we have the Solution Explorer here, we have the Git changes here, and here we have this Git repository window, which we will also use. And then we have these property windows here in the bottom. Now we can start creating a basic user interface. Let's just create a text box. Drag in a text box like this. Typically you want to have a button, etc. So this is a start of our basic graphical user interface like this. You can add more text boxes, buttons, whatever, change the title. And now, assuming we have created this first draft of our application, now we want to commit these files to the local clone Git repository. So then we just see that these files has been added here in the Git changes window. Then we need to just enter a comment, created a desktop app or whatever, click this commit button, save and commit, But so far these changes hasn't been, they are not popping up here in the remote repository in Azure DevOps, because the next step we need to do is to push these files, which you find here in this Git repository window. So just click push like this, and now we can go to the web interface, click to repos, go under application, and you see this Windows Forms app 1 has been created here, and the necessary files has been uploaded or pushed to the remote Git repository here in Azure DevOps. You can also go to the local folder where you have the local clone of the repository. You see this Windows Forms app has been created here with the solution file and the project file and the code files here, like this. So basically this is how we work with Azure DevOps and Visual Studio in combination with the Git version control system. So now I can continue to develop my application. I can, let's say, put a new a checkbox or something in here in my graphical user interface, and you see immediately here in the Git changes window, some changes in my code has been created, and then I can just here app has been updated with a checkbox or whatever. Click commit. Here, go to this Git repository, and then here you see how this outgoing. Here, click push in order to push these changes to the remote repository. Then I can go back to my Azure DevOps web interface, go to repos, and then you see it's not so easy to see here, but these files has been updated, and then you can go to commits. And then you see the commits history here. First we was adding this git ignore file. We created some folders. We added this Excel document with test results. We created a desktop app. And then finally the app has been updated with a checkbox. So here you see the entire history and changes that has been done in this Git repository. So that's all for now. So now you are ready to start using Azure DevOps with Git and Visual Studio. Thank you and goodbye.